I hope you're keeping well. Welcome to your first Women on Boards Network official session as a member. I just want to thank you for joining and joining on time. Please comment on the chat if you can hear me and hear my voice. Say where you're here from, if you want to say where you work, how you heard about us. Just let's get busy on the chat box because I just want to know a little bit about you. So I will wait to see. We'll chat fast. Maybe there are gifts for those who come in fast. Oh, I see Grace Murugi. Everyone needs to know Grace Murugi. She's one of the leading social media experts and digital marketing experts. I see you here, and Karibu Sana. I don't know who else is here, but feel very welcome as I wait for you all to chat. Hi, Kathy. We see you, Kathy Karue. Recommended by Anne Wangondu. Great. I see you, Jane Mutua. I see you, Immaculate. No, I can't even give briefs of everyone. The only one who got lucky to get a brief is Grace. It doesn't mean she's my favorite one, but yeah, I see you, Lois Ngugi. I see you, Nyokabi. Karibuni Sana. This is the best decision you have made after perhaps if you're married, who you're married to, if you know Jesus, knowing Jesus. It's a fantastic decision to join Women on Boards Network. So my name is Faith, and we'll get started. We are very keen on starting on time and finishing on time. We had a number of people in the waiting room. Thank you all for just even, being a keyboard warrior, for lack of a better word, and just putting in your introduction there. Asante Sana. I see you all. I see you, Jane Jeru. I see you, Lynette Kitobu. I see you, Beatrice. Karibuni Sana. We'll just get started, even as we wait for everybody else to join. I'm tempted to see who is willing to pray for us so we can start. You can put on the comments if you're willing to pray for us to start, and we'll unmute you. Anyone going once? Going twice?
Let's pray.
All right, great.
Okay. My Father in heaven, we thank you for your prayer. Thank you for being with us this day. As the meeting begins, may you guide us. I pray this and trust in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much for praying for us. God bless you. I'm seeing even Damaris giving all her details there. There's someone here who might have wanted a contact for someone. So putting in your details there is highly advisable. I see you, Mary. And so we'll get started. Our program is not too detailed. It's quite brief. So we're starting with open remarks, and the opening remarks are done by myself. My name is Faith Nkatha Gitonga. By day, I'm country manager for Cellulant. I sit on 4 boards. One of the ones I sit on is this one, Women on Boards Network. And I also chair the Finance and Partnerships Committee. For opening remarks, I really wondered what I should share and thought maybe I should give a story of how I joined Women on Boards Network and how it's impacted my life. When I joined Women on Boards Network, I was working for CDN Bank, and I was the director for strategy then. And so Catherine Musakali, who's the founder, one of the founders of Women on Boards Network, was coming to our organization to train on corporate governance. And so they came in and did this amazing training on corporate governance. We'll be talking about some of our programs, and one of the trainings you can do is corporate governance. It can be done for you as a corporate, as a board, or even for you yourself as an individual. And so I did this training on corporate governance, learned so much about boards. And at the end, she interested us, as the exco of the organization, to join Women on Boards Network. And around that week, the annual conference was also happening. And she was like, if you're interested, you should come. I remember I was so busy. It was such a difficult decision to make, but the office had paid for 2 of the women from the office to go. And I was like, you know what, let me go. I'll carry my laptop, I'll work. as I do the conference. And I go in for the conference, and my goodness, it was life-changing. So meeting women who have gone ahead of me in life and, you know, career-wise and things like that, and just learning from them. It was an amazing, I think it was 3 days, an amazing 3 days. I remember I just started this job, and 4 months into the role, found out I was expecting. So in this conference, I remember sitting in one of the ladies, and I told them how I'm so stressed because I'm not confirmed, and I found out I'm expecting. And she's like, there's no issue there. You're not sick. Do your job. Let your leadership know. Let the board know, because I was reporting to the board. And she's like, and don't make apologies. Don't say, I'm so sorry, I just found out. No, you know, you just deal with it properly and you move on. And so that was one of my best career decisions at the time. And so after that, I joined Women on Boards Network, and the rest, as they say, is history. So then, of course, later on, I interviewed to sit on the Women on Boards Network, and I was successful. Then also chairing the Finance and Partnership Committee, which has been fantastic. The experience has been great. It's also been amazing serving the women. And so what am I saying? I'm not sharing my story to show off. I'm sharing my story to encourage you that being part of this network is going to be an amazing journey for you. And not only in terms of sitting on the board, the trainings are amazing. You know, the board talks we do are amazing. One of the board talks taught me one of the best. Hello, someone needs to mute. And that lesson was never to serve tea. You know how so many times when you're a lady sitting in Exco or sitting in a board, you're always expected, you know, if a tea is brought and people just look at you expecting you to serve tea. And I learned, you know what, when we're in those, sitting in those tables, we are all in the same level, everybody serves their tea. And that's just one simple lesson. There are bigger lessons, how to choose which boards to sit on, how to apply, how do you do a board profile, how to improve your LinkedIn profile, executive presence. There's a world of information, a world of detail to learn from. So without much further ado, I'll just get into your orientation. Feel free to hold on to your questions. I know the Secretariat is with us. At the Secretariat, I'll just ask you, Nkatha and Hannah, to note down any questions that come in the chats, and we can discuss them towards the end. So I'll just go into the first slide. Nkatha, you can go to the first slide. So I spoke about Catherine Msakali. So she's the founder and chair of the Women on Boards Network. You've probably seen her face in our various events, etc. A lawyer by profession. We'll get to know her. Of course, if you're part of the network, you'll get to know her. We were hoping she could join this event today, but she got caught up at the airport, but she'd have loved to be here. She's always present to want to meet each and every new member. So I'm here representing her, trying to fit into her shoes, and I hope I do a good job at it. Next slide. Great. So I'll just give a bit of detail about Women on Boards Network. And I know as I speak about the programs, you'll get more details. So who are we? So many times people ask, you know, so is Women on Boards just a board, you know, or is it a real network? You know, what do you do in the board? So in the last few years, the network has, of course, formed who we are even better, and it's grown into a solid brand, and we're very proud to say that. So our main cause is to promote and encourage women sitting on boards. And I want to proudly say that we've, over the years, become the go-to network when different companies, different institutions are looking for women. So as you join this network, you'll get added into our many social media platforms. And so when we announce that there's this opening here and there, as different companies approach us, we give first priority to our members. We collect your resumes, but you can still raise your hand and say, I've seen this advertisement, I'm very keen to sit on this board, which is fantastic. So we were founded and registered as a not-for-profit entity in 2014. We've been around for a while. So we provide a platform that will bring together women from diverse fields and ranks. And so this is important to say, because so many times people say, oh, I need to sit on a board to join Women on Boards Network. You don't. As long as you're a woman, we even have male members, by the way, so I encourage all your friends, all sorts, to join. You don't have to be in senior management. It's actually fantastic if you could join as you grow in your career. So then you start setting your goals, you get mentored. I'll be speaking about that a bit more, but that's who we are. And what do we do? As I explained earlier, we put together various programs, various trainings, and in essence, what we're trying to do is be able to create a place where our women can be trained and formed to be board ready. And of course, board ready means you have understanding of how boards work, board dynamics, networking, putting together a good board profile. So just putting you together so that when the board opportunity comes, you can be ready. And you might ask, why do I need to be board ready? I guess I was born ready, and that could be true. But what we learned through research is that so many boards, we'd ask them, how come you don't have women? They're like, we looked, we don't know where to find these women. Where are they? And then others would say, when we find that woman, when they come in, it's not what we'd wanted. Maybe they don't have the skill, they don't know how to manage the dynamics. So we want to make sure by the time we're sending our women out, they're ready to serve in these boards, whether it's as a member chairing certain committees or even chairing the board. And it's a great honor for us to be able to serve women in that way. Next slide. I think I've sort of covered our vision, but for the vision, I'll just read it as it is: to encourage and accelerate diversity on boards by ensuring that there is a pool of board-ready women, and to provide a networking platform for sharing experiences, mentoring, coaching, and training. Excuse me. And the mission: to promote gender balance on boards by nurturing, inspiring, and developing women leaders. And you'll see some statistics I'll share at some point where actually the number of women in boards has increased over the years, which is fantastic. And we are glad to say, as Women on Boards, we've been a part and parcel of seeing those numbers get to where they are. So what we do, I've talked about it, we do training. We've trained over 700 women. Our trainings take different forms. We have trainings where we are talking about the corporate governance, like I mentioned. We do training on there's a training we do that's called Global Women on Boards. So you get trained to be board ready for a global board, which is fantastic and great opportunity. We also have trainings where we are working with some great contacts, I think from Mauritius, and they come in and help us to prepare our board profiles. And why we get some of these links is that we also notice that sometimes you'll go have your resume done and by someone, and then when you look at it, you're not happy. So we're like, can we have those contacts as Women on Boards Network? So if you need your resume done or even a board profile done, because boards will ask you for a board profile, we have the resources, we have people who can train you. And as it is right now, we have a great contact who's trained a very large number of women, and it would be fantastic. I personally have gone through that training and it's been very valuable. Then of course we do board admission. Like I explained, I won't repeat myself. And we've placed 170 women on boards since inception, since 2014. I think wherever you are, you should be clapping for Women on Boards. I think that's no mean feat, just being able to place, 170 women on boards. Then we do mentorship. It takes different forms. We have peer-to-peer mentorship. We have mentorship for our junior members because we have junior members, and we've experienced 300% growth. We currently have 650 registered members and over 1,700 participants. Great things that we are doing in that space. And as you can see, for as long as your child, I'll say here, your child, in case you have one, or of young boys and girls, young ladies and gentlemen who of the age 12 and above, they can join these mentorship forums. Some other, I've mentioned most of these achievements, but let me just go through it again. 170 women placed on boards. We have the 300 that we've mentored. We have 700 that we've trained, and 350 women placed in senior management. Again, another round of applause for Women on Boards Network. Next slide. I mentioned the annual conference when I was sharing my story on the network. So we have an annual conference that we do once a year. We try to do it outside of Nairobi so that, you can lock out of work and everything else and just focus on taking it in. We invite various speakers from different sectors. Last year's was amazing. We brought in just different techpreneurs and just people to just open up women's minds on, you know, thinking forward and just what lies ahead for us into 2023. So a fantastic conference for you to attend. We can share details with you on the dates and aspects like that, so you can plan your calendar to be available for the annual conference. Then we do breakfast and roundtables. I smile when I read this, because when we first started, someone needs to mute. We first started the breakfast. Sorry, I'm so distracted. But yeah, so when we first started the breakfast and roundtables, we do them physically. And I remember during COVID, how we converted this into virtual sessions, and it was amazing. We had women calling and saying, your room is full. We want to come in. We want to learn how to keep our businesses running, how to work remotely, how to be positive, you know, how to still see opportunity despite the pandemic. So this breakfast and roundtables has taken a whole new view and version of itself, but a fantastic tool that we have within Women on Boards Network, a rich list of speakers we have as well. Then we have board talks. So board talks are a little different from breakfasts and roundtables, because then now this focuses on boards. We've had quite a number that we've done, as you can see the numbers there. And in essence, we'll bring in, again, key speakers to come and give their experiences. We've had panels with, in Kenya, we say there are those people who sit on boards. You know, like if you're asked who are the top 10 people who sit on boards, it's very easy to come up with those names. So we try to bring them in, to learn how to sit on these boards, how to apply for them, how to network, and give you a chance to meet these people, put in your elevator pitch. So the next time they're looking for a board member, then you can come in. We bring in people from the public sector as well, because it's key to also learn how to handle public sector and how to get into those boards, because there are board sittings in that space as well. Next slide. So in essence, we try to make sure that the Women on Boards Network is an experience. So even the speakers who come in, we want them to share their story. We want them to talk us through what have been their challenges, because it's not always rosy, so then you get a good understanding. And in essence, even with the junior membership program, what we have at the heart of this program when we put it together is to be able to train these young people and mentor them and coach them so that they don't have to make the same mistakes we've made. They don't have to go through all those ropes, yet we know those stories. But if we're able to share them, then it would be easier for them. And like I said, it's open for both the ladies and gentlemen, as long as you're that age of 12 years and you go till around 24, then after that you graduate into the main Women on Boards Network membership. As you can see the details there, you'd have to be in college or just about to leave college, but we have kids who are still students and who have joined, and it's fantastic. Of course, if you have a vision to be on a board, sometimes it's the parents bringing them in and they're like, you know what, I see leadership in this young child, or, I just want them to learn and their minds opened up. And it's a fantastic way for you to give back as well. We keep saying, we don't want you just always receiving, you also need to give back. So it's a fantastic way for you to serve in the network. There are various benefits by this membership, and of course you get the mentorship camps, like I said. A lot of them get the networking, like I said, and also we have volunteer opportunities, because we have a secretariat, and even within the network where you can get opportunities to get internship as a young person as you get out of college and need a job and things like that. We've also seen places where, someone is starting a board, wants a view from a young person, and, then these junior members can be able to get that placing and things like that. So, which is fantastic. A lot of these young people that are starting businesses, they get to learn how to set up boards at an early age for their biasharas, which is fantastic as well. Let me move to the next slide from there. I think I sort of covered that. I mentioned earlier that I'll go through a bit of statistics. You know, gender diversity and inclusion is key. And of course, yes, I know so many times when we speak about gender and diversity, it's not only the aspect of women. You know, it could be just diversity in terms of education background. It's diversity in terms of age. It is diversity in terms of the various sectors, you know, just putting in all that and just making sure there's inclusion. So of course, this is just focused on women in terms of gender, but there's various aspects of diversity and inclusion that are key for us to, of course, have in. I think as women on boards, what we are trying is, of course, to ensure gender is key, and even the age aspect, that we are not only putting in women into boards who are of a certain age going up, but, you know, just making sure everyone is board ready. So if a board needs a woman who's between 30 and 40, we have that. If they need someone who's in their 50s, we have that. So everyone has a place. And if you've probably come across the various reports that the Kenya Institute of Management has done, you'll learn that over the years, they've done so many researches, just again, going back and checking how many more women in Kenya do we have who are getting into senior level, how many do we have who are getting into board positions. And so if you look at the numbers, it's fantastic, you know, starting off at 12% in 2012, going up to 18% in 2015, 21% in 2017, and just seeing that get to 23%, you know, and just growing is fantastic for me. And I'm really waiting for the day we'll be saying 50%, you know, and please get a hand into these records and these research papers that they've done. It's fantastic, a fantastic handbook to go to read through and just see what opportunities are there for women and what women are doing out there, just in terms of board sitting and all. Next slide. And maybe as we get out of that slide and I get into this page, another thing that's important to mention is that we also have awards, and I'll be discussing that later. And these reports from the Kenya Institute of Management is what made us think of doing the awards. And in our mind, we were saying, how do we encourage this gender diversity and inclusion? You know, can we celebrate women doing this, organizations, you know, supporting this sort of inclusions, you know, so that we praise them, then they can do it even more. So we have our brand ambassadors as the Women on Boards Network. Top of the list is Rita Kavashe. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a managing director of Isuzu East Africa. She also sits in a number of boards. Then Flora Mutahi, again, sits in a number of boards, founder and CEO for Marsh International Limited. Patricia Ithao as well, CEO of WPP Scan Group. She just joined this role. Again, someone who sits in various boards. And yes, to some gentlemen, we have Dr. Julius Kipngetich, Regional Director, Jubilee Insurance Group. As you might know, also sits in various boards. John Gumi, Director and Chairman of the Board of Safaricom PLC. We need to update this because he just stepped down from this role a few weeks ago. But again, another gentleman who has great experience, you know, sitting on boards. These two gentlemen actually have sat in a panel and just allowed the members to ask any question, including the boys club that we feel as women we can never get into, and their responses are just amazing. So by being part of the network, you get to experience that. And the ladies as well have been amazing. They've mentored us, they've coached us, they've walked with us. You know, you get into a board, they give you a call and they tell you, Faith, go for it, you're gonna do well. And there's nothing better than hearing that from a fellow woman who's gone ahead of you. So those are the things that will be open to you, whether it's that senior role you get into, or you're getting into a board, or just mentorship that you need in the various seasons in your corporate life. The next slide. And then there's the board. I mentioned FCS, Ms. Catherine Musakali, who's our chairperson. I hope you can see the diversity in this board. Then we have CS Calvin Nyachoti, who's our director in the board. Then we have FCS Nkirote Moria, who's a director as well. Then we have Judith Sidi Othiambo. I don't know if she's managed to join, but she's a member of the board and chairs the Membership and Programs Committee. We have Reverend Geoffrey Jenga, who's a chair of Policy and Advocacy Committee. This is one of the, a key committee for us. It's the one that runs our awards, and the Reverend is, spearheading that, which is fantastic. Then we have CS Rose Lumumba, who's a director as well on the board. And then, of course, there's myself. I already introduced myself. Yes, so we can move on. So those are the members of the board, a very diverse board, just in terms of background, in terms of age, in terms of gender. So we are also leaving the talk because even as we deal with women issues, we need to get the viewpoint from the men. We need them on the table so they can push it in the boys' club, so to speak. So it's a fantastic board. Next slide. So I mentioned the secretariat. So we have Miss Agnes Wanga. She was supposed to be here today. She's the CEO of the Women on Boards Network, but she wasn't able to join. She had an emergency. I believe Hannah is here with us. Naserian Kantai is here with us. And I believe Sheila Kirui is here with us. Maybe towards the end, they'll put on their videos so you get to put a face to the name. Next slide. So I don't know if Judith is here. Maybe Kantai, you can confirm.
She's not yet joined. She says give her, maybe she's stuck in traffic.
That's okay. All right. Thank you for that, Kantai. I was really hoping Judith should get to say hi to everyone, but you'll get to meet her hopefully before the end of this session. But at least you've gotten to see their faces on the pictures. So our programs. So like I mentioned, we have various programs. There's one here called the Global Women on Boards program. We run this every year in association with a similar network out of Malaysia. And like I mentioned earlier, the faculty is amazing, giving you such a good view of how to sit in a global boardroom. What does that look like? What are global trends? What does corporate governance look like when you're thinking global, aspects of board dynamics vary when it's you're dealing with Europeans, when you're dealing with Americans, when you're dealing with Asians, just so that you have that understanding. And I didn't think this was important until I walked in and sat in my first board meeting, and you sit there and you're like, I'm so glad I've gotten a bit of training, because then I'd be so clueless. There are those things that you have to say in boards, like with your permission, chair, I'd like to give a point, or just learning different cues. And when you go in without that training, then you don't know how to behave, how to review these reports before board meetings, how do you give comments, how do you pick which committee to sit in. So many things, and it's fantastic to be able to get trained. So you walk in as if you've been doing it all your life. And so you can get that global experience through this program. Part of it is run here, but most of it is run in Malaysia. So it would be a fantastic 8-month module program that you'd want to be part of. Then we have corporate governance training, like I mentioned earlier, that just gives you the good understanding of, what aspects are key in a board. How do you manage senior management, aspects of policy, which is key in terms of just board dynamics and board leadership. I won't go into too much detail, but that's another training that's very key for you to go through. And this, of course, if you're leading an organization or sitting in an exco, is a program that we can run for your exco or even run for your board. So it could take various forms. Then I mentioned the board profiling and personal positioning workshop. One of the best trainings I have done with the network. There's a gentleman called Tian Pao. I couldn't say his name earlier. This is one of those names you just have to say when you're reading it. So he's Tian Pao Pan, but we call him TP, and he's from Malaysia. You can check out his profile on LinkedIn. He worked for Conferry, which is a well-known brand. Very well-run session. We are actually starting in 2023 to have him take us through one-on-one sessions. So far until today, we've only done group sessions. We try to keep them small with him, and you go through the workshop, but we are in discussions with him for one-on-one sessions because our members have come back and said, this session was so good. Can I get more time, just me and him? We review my profile. He helps me edit it, etc. So he's done a good job. After this training, I was able to come out out with my first board profile, and so proud the next time there was an advert for a board to be able to put in my application with a confident board profile. So it should be great for you as well. Then the network also has group board mentorship programs. And I talked about this, it's for the next generation, just providing you with that board readiness. I won't repeat myself. So if you're an aspiring board member, we can put you into groups. There's the ambassadors I mentioned who are able to come in and support. There are also various members of the network who are not ambassadors, but who sit in various boards who would be able to come in and mentor you. So if this is on your list and resolution for this year, please go for it. Sign up for this board member mentorship and just get access to the wealth of knowledge from and networks and sponsorship as well from the various members who would be able to support. The next one, sorry, I didn't see the slides shift. So the next one is what we call the Network Ambassadors Board Mentorship Program. And this, sorry, I covered this even in the previous part. So it would be orange. Sorry, someone needs to mute. So this is what I've just basically explained. So you could get to learn from the members. You could also get to learn from the ambassadors, and they're very, which one do I use? They're very intentional, wanting to review what your skills are, how your resume looks, you know, advise you on the best board, or tell you for this board, it takes a lot of your time, stick to one board, you know, just all this wild view in terms of advice you might need for boards. So again, a very fantastic program. And then we also do the same thing for public sector. As you might understand, sitting in a public sector board, and especially in Africa, is a whole mood, for lack of a better word. And what I mean is that it needs specific skills, of course, specific experience, and also just a good wise, like a good wisdom and understanding to be able to be effective and just see the change you want to see. And so we have a program that helps prepare our members for this sort of opportunities when they come up, or if you get such an opportunity, so you know how to apply, and once you get in, how to run that sort of board. So in case you have interest, or you already sit in that sort of board, please feel free to reach out and we can place you in either of these programs. I mentioned the awards, but I'll go through them again. We started the awards in 2021. And like I mentioned, what was key for us was to just be able to recognize and just create more importance on gender diversity and inclusion. We've run 2 awards so far, both very successful. The list of award categories are detailed there. One of the key ones to mention is the Women on Board Director of the Year Award. The first year it was won by the Executive Director, Mary Wamai of Equity Bank. The second year it was won by where has her name disappeared when I've thought about it? I'll remember, but the owner and founder and CEO of McKinney Schools. And of course, if you know her story, she has an amazing story, being a woman of very many fasts. And so she won the award last year. I'll remember her name, but I know you must know her. And so there's that full list of awards. So please feel free to apply. It doesn't mean because you're a member, you can't apply. It even means the more that you can apply, and we'll recognize you for the things you're doing. Thank you, Caroline Masharia. Yes, her name is Mary Okello. I think it's the hour of the day. Next slide. Thank you very much. And at this point, Kantai, if CPA Lucy Munjuga and Beatrice Materia are here, I'll invite them to just give a bit of detail on the coteries. We also have coteries. I met a member of the network who told me coteries are like high-end chamas in the network. So it's just groups of women coming together with different interests, similar interests, working together, networking. So it's just a way for you to just get to know each other, and small groups for you to learn from and just grow. You know, iron sharpens iron, we say. So that's what the coteries are. I don't know if Lucy or Beatrice is here. If they were to share a bit, then we can move on from there.
Yes, Lucy is here.
Okay. Go ahead, Lucy.
Okay, thank you, Faith. I start by thanking the women on board for making us to choose the quarterly that each person would like to join, because this gives us the opportunity to get into a quarterly that you have an interest in. So for me and the team, we got into the fitness quarterly, and one word I would describe it is it has been exciting. After we chose the quarterly, we had a breakfast meeting, or just a meet and greet. And the first thing is that we needed to know each other, so that as we move forward, we know who are our team members. And though some of them are not in Nairobi, they are all over, but we were able to get a big number. So that was in July when we had the breakfast meeting, and it was a lot of fun. And during that meeting, we were able to come up with the activities that we would like to do as a group. And most of what came up is we wanted to be hiking, walking, gym, yoga, dancing, cycling, and also some personal development. And also we wanted to be around, not just on fitness, but all around. And therefore we wanted to learn more on nutrition. So with this, we came up, during our meeting, we came up with the activities that we are going to have, and we decided to have, because it's not possible to have all of us together, so we agreed to have each person to have their fitness journey. But in order to be accountable, we were going to be, you need to be posting on daily basis what you have done. So the aim of it is not for competition, it's just to encourage individuals so that we see what each person is doing and what we are doing every day. But even with that, we wanted to have a group activity so that at the end of it all, we are together and we are able to meet and know what we are doing. So the activities that we had for La Catre was that is the breakfast meeting that we had in July. Then in August, we had a walk in Karula, a 5-kilometer walk. And after that, we met at the hotel, and there was a lot of fun taking tea, and it was very nice. Then September, we had a team introduction. We realized that we had not been able to meet some members, and therefore we had a Zoom meeting where we did our profiles so that you can come and talk about yourself. What is it you do? What profession are you in? Are you running a farm, or are you working in an organization? So that at least we know each other. If you need something, you know whom you can talk to. And that was very successful. Then for October, we had a talk on personal branding. We invited somebody to come and talk about it. Very nice and well attended, being a virtual meeting. Then in November, we had mental health and focused on creating boundaries. That was also very, very nice. In December, we didn't have a group activity. In January, this weekend, we'll be having another walk in Karula, 10 kilometers. We hope you can join, even if you're not in this quarterly, it will be good to meet with you. And then February, we'll be having another activity that is visiting the Hell's Gate and Geothermal Spa, do a lot of swimming there. And then March, we have another activity that is hike in Gong Hills. So that's where we have reached, and we'll be, once we meet on Saturday, we'll be able to plan what are the other activities. So what I would say, what has been the highlights of this quarterly? One, we've been able to share what each person likes, and therefore, as you do your activity, like for those who like hiking, you're able to share with the team members. Maybe you are in another group and you do a lot of hiking, you share the calendar so that other members can join. And with this, we have one of our members who will be doing the hiking or want to summit Mount Kenya next week. So she asked us to keep her in prayers. And the other one, the other highlight is in the team, we have somebody who does the sports bike. big sports bike that you see. Probably you've been meeting one of the people on weekends along Kitegela Road. And yeah, it has been very nice. And for me, if I would say my highlight has been when we had this meeting and we were discussing about what somebody likes. Somebody just mentioned and talked about how they like adventure, and just said in December there is I'm taking an adventure to visit some of the Africa countries, a road trip, and I joined in, and therefore in December we were able to travel from 17th December to 6th of January, where we visited the 6 countries, African countries. That was in Tanzania, we went to Malawi, we went to Zambia, we went to Zimbabwe, we went to Namibia, Botswana, and back to Kenya. So it has brought us together, and I think it has been very nice. The other one is that with the people doing various activities and the sharing, there are those who like dancing. So we have been able to know where you can get the dancing classes. They share with us. There are people who have been going, and it has been very nice. I think what we have not been able to meet, we have been wanting to have a dancing lesson as a group. That has not happened. We are still working on that. And also the other challenge has been is that, of course, attendance, because some of our members are not based in Nairobi. So we have not been able to have a one-on-one with them, but we are still hoping it will happen. So that is in belief, that is what the fitness has been doing for the period we have been on since June, when the quarterly started. So with that, maybe my other member can go on.
Thank you so much, CPA Lucy Munjuga. I really appreciate. You're always an inspiration, always full of energy. And I really appreciate that I met you in this pottery, because it's actually been a place of just really a lot of inspiration and pushing one another. And I think also the testimonials that have continually just been shared on the group. Even when you are feeling a bit lazy, then tomorrow you will just get up because of the inspirations that are on the group. So on a personal level, for me, I will not repeat what Lucy has already said, because it's been quite full packed and quite a lot of activities. But for me personally, it's just been an inspiration. Every time you go to that group and you see someone has just been out and they've shared the mileage they've covered for that day, and their pictures at the gym, you will just get up for that day. So I think it's a beautiful thing to always do these things together. And for those of us who are joining today, I think I will encourage you, try and get a coterie that really shares your interest and belong there. Beyond, actually, you make very good friends, you meet wonderful people. I was happy to meet you, Lucy, several times online. I live on and off Mombasa and Nairobi, but I physically also met you again during one of the activities in Mombasa. So I think it's also beautiful meeting friends beyond everything else. So we wish you all the very best. Karibuni sana to WOBN, and have fun beyond everything else, getting to the board and all that. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Beatrice. We'll move into the next session, which is the current member engagement. I would like to call upon Marianne Karanja, if she's on call, for her to share her experiences as a Women on Boards member. Marianne, are you on call? Marianne? Okay. Perhaps Evelyn can go ahead. Evelyn, welcome.
Just turning on my camera. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to speak at this. I hope everyone can hear me. Just first of all, a very quick intro about myself. My name is Evelyn Nyarega, mother of 4. The oldest is 27, works in Kigali, and my second born in Austria, in Vienna. third one just did her fourth, so I'll be coming out to look for jobs. And my last one is going to grade 7. So what do? I work for a company called TSG Hospitality and Realty, and I'm the head of compliance and customer service, something that I really enjoy. Now, my career has spanned over the years from hospitality through to sales and marketing and banking, public policy, and now I've come back again to customer service, which really is my bread and butter. I love speaking to people. I'm a very friendly person, and I'm a problem solver kind of a person. Now, what an experience in WOBN. So I'll just give you a little bit of background. So we were at a chama, and a friend of ours called Christine Sabwa, who we had invited, talked about this network. So I was sort of listening and sort of not listening. And she just went on about how there's great women and this kind of thing. And in my head, and she was like, Evie, I think you would thrive in this. And I was like, you know, where you think there's a lot of women, there's a lot of bickering, but alas, that was also wrong. So she invited me for a breakfast meeting, which I went and attended, Shingo Upande, to be very honest. So I just thought, you know what, Pan-Africa is down the road. Let me just go and listen. If I don't like it at break time, I'll walk away. But I didn't walk away. In fact, at the end of the meeting, I stayed on for an extra hour, just bonding with people and getting to know about WOBN. For me, WOBN has changed my life. I'll be very honest. I only joined in May 2022. And I'll just tell you a few things that have happened that have totally changed me. So soon after I joined, I enrolled to do the corporate governance course. And wow, it just tied in with my career in compliance. And it gave me the confidence I needed when I'm invited to top government, meetings with top government officials, where you're invited for workshops on legalities and stuff like that. And I learned the etiquette of how to behave and how to talk in these meetings and how to approach the chair and that kind of thing. Before I'd just sit there because I wasn't very sure of the protocol, but it gave me that confidence. And I think also part of the things you're taken through in this course also light up that bulb in your head that tells you, what's your CV like? So I actually realized that I've been underselling myself. So after the corporate governance training, I went up, pulled up my CV, and I thought, you know what, Evie, you've got what it takes. So tweak this a little bit. So I tweaked. I didn't add anything that I've never done, but it's just the way I presented myself. And that was a wowza moment for me because soon after that, without me looking for the opportunity, I went somewhere to do a little bit of public speaking. And after that, the director of this advertising company called Big Little walked up to me and said, do you know what? We don't have a woman on our board. Why don't we take you on? Would you like to come for an interview? Just like that. For me, that was like an aha moment. So I thought, okay, this guy must be kidding. So 2 days later, I'm in the office and he called and said, can we have lunch tomorrow? And there'll be the other directors. We want to make it as informal as possible. So I got into a board, and thanks to WOBN, I think 2 weeks after, there was a request put forward in the group for people to put themselves forward to be assessors for the awards ceremony. And I thought, you know what, because I've done this before in England for the company that I worked for, I can do it, and I think that was such a highlight for me in WOBN. I was partnered with the most amazing person called Muthoni, and Muthoni and I have become best of friends. Through, again, WOBN, and we do a bit of biashara together. So we were assessing the Male Champion Award. And again, through that, it gave me a network. So now I know the MD of Lafarge of Bamburi Cement, who through that, again, because of the kind of work we developers, the company I work for, on one of the companies. So now we are also in partnership. So this is just to say that WOBN can just open gazillion doors. I wouldn't even say a million, gazillion, if there's anything like that. Last Sunday, again, through WOBN, there's a WhatsApp group for people who are entrepreneurs. So if you have a little side gig, so I joined that as well. And last weekend, we actually started doing table banking. So I'm in one or two other table banking groups, but this is on another level, because on top of that, there is something they call the booster account, which is like a savings account that you save for a year, like a fixed account. But again, it's on the table. In that same meeting in my group, which I took lead of, I met the life coach, somebody I've been sort of following silently. And I mean, when she said, "Oh, I'm Susan Gashara," and I was like, "I've been following you." And I said, "You know, I've wanted to write to you about being my life coach." And she says, "Here I am, and I'm going to do it for you pro bono." So what can I say about WOBN? You're in the right place at the right moment. The networks are, I don't know, unmeasurable. So it's up to you to go for what you want. And I can tell you for free, and take it to the bank, this is the place to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evie, for your testimonial. I'd like to call upon Elsie, if she's on call, to also share her experience as a WBN member. Elsie, are you on call? Okay. If Elsie is not on call, Marcio Kiro. Welcome, Marcy.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am having quite the hectic day, but I hope everyone can hear me clearly. My name is Marcio Kiro. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And okay, the overhead light is blinding, so I think I'll switch off my video. I was not prepared to just jump into video. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I'm a member of Women on Boards. I joined last year in January, and I currently work as an alternative dispute resolver. My specialization in law, alternative dispute resolution and arbitration. Currently, I'm the acting chair of the National Construction Authority. That's from this week, but I've been vice chair. I'm also the vice chair of the KEPSA Gender Sector Board. I also sit in other international steering committees for arbitration and alternative.
I think we've lost Marcy. Okay, for the second time, maybe I can call upon Marianne Karanja if she has joined. Marianne, are you on call? Elsie? Okay, I think we've lost Marcy. Perhaps as we wait for Marcy to join back on call, I would like to call upon Faith to take us into the next session, which is the upcoming programs. And thank you very much, ladies, for testimonials and also sharing with us your experience in the network. Thank you very much. Faith, on to you.
Thank you, Kantai. I hope everyone can hear me. I tried to join with another device. I thought I was the one with the problem when I couldn't hear her. I hope you can hear me. So it's been so great just spending time hearing the testimonials from the other members. And sorry, just give me a minute. Apologies for that. It's dinner time in my house as well. So I was just saying it's so awesome to get to hear the testimonials from everyone, just getting to learn what's happening and what's happening in the coteries. And maybe Hannah or Kantai, even as I go through this final deck, maybe you can share in the chat just the number people can reach out to the Secretariat on, maybe share an email. So then, because I'm seeing a number of questions, so if we can't answer all of them tonight, then the people can be able to have a number to reach out to you on. So we have a few upcoming events. Some of them have been finalized on the dates and venues and the times. A few others will come up and we'll be able to share the calendar of events in our group. So what happens is that once you become a member, we put you in a WhatsApp group because it's so much easier to communicate there. And the Secretariat keeps updating over the years. Of course, the membership has really grown. So we have many groups, but it's one of those groups where only the admin can reach out with very, very little activity from the members, but at least you get updated on everything that's happening. So you can get to learn which boards are advertising, which companies are looking for board members, how to apply, etc. But even starting now, you could work on your board profile and share it with the Secretariat. So when the opportunities come up, they can reach out. The Secretariat will also guide you on how to join the various programs, how to be part of the coterie, etc. I'm seeing Mercy apologizing. I don't know whether Mercy, I give you a few minutes or maybe I allow you to settle. You can let me know on the chat. Oh, I see you concluding. She's saying, nonetheless, I welcome the new members and truly wish to tell them that it's great. It's a great decision to join Women on Boards Network. Or she's saying she can speak. So I'll just give you 5 minutes, or to just finish, and then I can finish off with the events. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Faith. I apologize for the internet connection. Clearly, I'm still one of the few people who are still stuck on Zuku, despite the fire and pepper they've shown us. So I truly apologize. Yes, so as I was saying, I think I should have joined Women on Boards Network earlier, but then I am those people, I just had a lot of things and I kept postponing. And then last year when the year started, I remember I was up working until about midnight. And I said, if I don't pay these Women on Boards today, I'll never pay it again. So I joined, and I would say this, but before I joined Women on Boards, I had been in the boards that I'm in, but I will clearly say for free that it was a lot of hassle. Like I had to lobby a lot, I had to really grapple in the dark. But the funny thing is that I relied a lot on the videos that were posted on the YouTube channel for Women on Boards. And I watched them over, like right now, I can even tell you some speakers what they said, because I really binge watched them several times, because I really wanted to do a sort of my self-preparation. Nonetheless, I think joining was a better option. And I'll say a few things, just 3 things. One, in terms of networking, and this I'm saying this specifically as a woman, and I'll say a young woman, really. Though we are leaving the youth bracket soon, nonetheless, we said youthful. Youthful is the name of the game. So since we are all youthful, grappling boards and specifically public sector boards is very, very, very hard. And especially if you've never sat on a board before. But then you see, I don't believe that there's a day that you will sit and be sure that now I'm perfect. I can sit in a board, I'm ready. So sometimes you just have to take the plunge. And for me, I believe for those who've joined and you're not on any boards, Women on Boards is a perfect platform. Because not only are you sitting with people who are in boards, who've been in boards, you're also with other newcomers who are also aspiring to join boards. So you share ideas. For me, my greatest benefit, I'd say, in the last 1 year has been the webinars we've had and the guests that have been invited. I found them to be very inspiring. And another thing is, the common, I'd say, I'll call it a misconception that wherever a group of women gather, there is a, I don't know, bickering. Personally, I think it's a propaganda, or rather it is propaganda to avoid women coming together, because when women come together, they become a great force to reckon with. And sitting there in those evening webinars, having guests speak to us, and just the exchange, that I have even with other women, either people who are aspiring to join boards, people who've been in boards, and then you realize that that sharing experience is not going to be something you can get in another forum, because you realize that majority of the boards, like I am in a board with only men, and I'm the youngest, so it's like, what? So some problems that are very unique to me, I can only share with people in this group, because not only, at least they are women to begin with, and then also a good number of them are also within my age bracket. So even those of them in boards, and even the ones who are young or who have been there before me, I think I've gotten a lot of guidance in terms of how to manage boards. And at the risk of sounding controversial, how to manage and work around the patriarchy that is the setting that we have in many boards today in Kenya. And yeah, and also bonding is good, because I also believe in friendships. I have many conversations. Of course, sometimes my schedule is very busy, but I have very many side conversations with women, and from this group specifically, and even the WhatsApp chat, the exchanges we have, for me, they are very healthy, because I don't have any other space where I can speak like that. The last thing I'll say, and I'm not marketing, is the corporate governance program. I think either you've been in a board, you've not, personally, I'll say, if you've not been in a public sector board, or you just want to join a board, it's a very important program, because I'm not saying private sector boards don't follow corporate governance, but then now in public sector board, it becomes a matter of literally you can be imprisoned, and it becomes more serious because you're handling public money. And sometimes it's best to just prepare, because you start preparing for things that you want. That's how I live. Prepare for things that you want, because my thing is that if you want to join a public sector board, which is what most people want, or even the public sector, private sector, whichever the case, you may want to join those boards, but are you truly prepared? Because you see boards, when you get to a board meeting, there's no one who expects you to, there's no one who's going to do training for you. You enter and the board meeting starts and you run with it. So I think this program is very important for those who want to refresh, and even for those especially who want to prepare themselves for a board, because you don't want to be caught flat-footed, because you might pray, the Lord says you might pray, and then he gives you that thing and you can't do it. But apart from that, I think I'm very grateful. Thank you for this opportunity. And also specifically for those who've joined today, welcome so much. And more importantly, please don't let your subscription go to the wind. Poke people, talk to people, have conversations, attend all this, even if you're busy and you can't make it to physical events, attend virtual events like some of us, and make the most out of what you can in this membership. Don't let your membership, usiwache pesa yako ikunywe maji. Just use your money well, and I guarantee you'll benefit. And just put yourself out there, because also don't forget that we have women here who also bring people onto boards and also recommend them. Thank you so much, Faith, and I wish everyone a good evening.
Thank you very much, Mercy. I'm actually glad you were able to come back, because what you shared is so valuable. I hope we each gleaned something and learned something from each of the members who's managed to speak this evening. Thank you to each and every one of you. As we close, like I said earlier, I'll just quickly go through the programs that we have running for this year. And as I mentioned, the calendar will be shared with you, but we'll put out just a few of them. Top of the list is the corporate governance training, and Mercy has even reiterated how important it is. Those are the dates. Let me not read them word for word, but please note the months in the year. So we do a few in the year. So then that if you miss Feb, you can do May or you do September. And then we, of course, have the public sector board mentorship program graduation, a fantastic one to join as well. Then you get to hear testimonials of how others have gone through it, what they've learned, etc. And also good for, just networking, and also to get inspiration to join the next one. Then we have board talks as well. So our series starts in March. Again, a very good experience. I won't repeat myself. I went through the value, and we also have our 9th anniversary breakfast and roundtable. 9th is a big number for us, and we want to celebrate that. Please note the date. Then we have the board mentoring program as well. I talked about this, again, another valuable one for us. Those are the dates as well. And finally, we have the board profiling and personal positioning workshop. This is the one by TP that I talked about. Those are the dates. And the Global Women on Boards program, which will be sharing the details on it, but the duration is 6 months as detailed there. And of course, there are many others. There's going to be the award ceremony. There's the annual conference. We're just finalizing on the dates, and then we'll be able to share. So I'm almost tempted to say, keep it locked, keep it here, keep it on Women on Boards Network. And we are so excited that you could be part of this induction and orientation tonight. But more importantly, we are so excited that you took time, took your money, and invested it in this network. I keep saying the best investments are investments in yourself. So you just did that. I want to tell you, well done, and welcome to Women on Boards Network. So wherever you are, you can give a big clap. I'll ask you to put on your video if you can, for Nkatha and team to get a picture so we can put a face to the name. Mercy, I'm seeing a few people asking for your number. I think you can share it on the chat. I'm seeing a few other chats here. I'll try go through them real quick, but I'm seeing Nkatha has shared the calendar in case you want to quickly download it. But let's have our videos on. Then we'll, in our own way during COVID, we'd have the video on and take pictures of everyone. So we are hoping we can be able to do that tonight. So just have your videos on. Nkatha, let us know once you take the picture, and then we can close. And we can be done. Nkatha, you've managed. Let us know when you're done.
Okay, just a sec.
Ladies, just keep your smile.
Okay, we are done.
Great. Thank you very much. Welcome to Women on Boards once again, and congratulations for starting a big, big, big new move in your life. You will see it. You've heard about it. I wait to hear your story as well. Have a good evening, and thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you.